Welcome to Live Up to Freedom. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm going to try to behave today. My face is already giving it away. What can I say? Get it together, girl. We are live on worldviewtube.com, worldviewtube, Rumble, and X, worldviewtube app, which, as I say every day, to remind you, you can get it for free on your app store, regardless of your devices. Just look up worldviewtube. Install the app, turn on the notification, you're set to go. We're also live on X, America News on X, and live on my platforms of Facebook, YouTube, Rumble, X, and Substack. Join the conversation as we get through today. Though I could literally talk straight for next 2.5 hours instead of hour, but I will share my time today with my special guest, whom you are all familiar with, and he made a promise last week to come back today, not knowing how much is going to happen by now. Well, kind of we had a guess, but I did not know I'm going to sit here and try to control my laughter. Apparently me laughing has, got some people upset, including on my Facebook. I had more comments of what are you laughing about than the actual post I made, which the original post was that the first round of talks between US and Iran will take place. First, it was announced on Friday in Islamabad in Pakistan with a really laughy face. And people were curious as to why am I laughing? Because at this point, number one, this joke is not even funny anymore. But then it's so tragic that if I don't laugh, then the face of mine that shall never be seen, at least by public, will surface and we can't take that back. Therefore, I will keep laughing, just like I was on Brown House Live last night. And I wasn't doing too much laughing on my show yesterday, which was 24 hours ago, because I figured I shouldn't laugh until it lands. And then when it lands, I get to laugh. And we're going to actually play a less than a minute clip of mine, literally from my show yesterday. I think just for the fact that I could not help it. I need to play that. And the playing of it isn't necessarily the I told you so part. It's the I'm okay with you. And I don't mean to my supporters, the other supporters who I don't even know why they invest their time in watching me and following me so they can tell me how stupid I am for not understanding and getting the bigger picture of Trump's plan. But it's mainly for you guys. That's why I figured I should play that, because I was so exact and clear yet simple. The whole thing happened in less than a minute, apparently. I even shocked myself. But as you know, we had 8 p.m. Eastern time yesterday. Since I was on air, we had an 8 p.m. deadline. We're gonna just destroy Iran. A whole civilization will die, never to be brought back. And then we went from that to before 8 p.m. I think it was 6:45 or so Eastern time, where it's like, congratulations, we have a ceasefire, 2-week ceasefire. Not long, but that's plenty to work on some finalizing of a deal that's going to turn into a permanent end to this war. And then we went from there to now Strait of Hormuz is open, and then 47 minutes later we went to Strait of Hormuz is closed because, oh, by the way, it's Israel's fault, just so you know. If you're not picking up on the sarcasm between my look and my tone, I'm announcing this is all sarcasm. Anyhow, Strait is back to being closed. There's not technically a ceasefire left on the table. Ghalibaf, the speaker of parliament, Iran's parliament, already said there's no need for negotiation or ceasefire. Anyways, I don't know if it's history, but if I was about to pull a Trump on you, I already did by not making that sentence properly. I would say this was the shortest lasting ceasefire in the history, but I don't know. You could like 13 hours maybe. I can't think of, at least in my lifetime, think of a shorter one. But I gave you the full picture. And while we wait for that, let me check, because I might get a text when that clip is ready, so I don't want to miss it. Now, while we wait for that 1-minute clip, let's go ahead and bring our guest on, Barry Nussbaum, who needs no introduction, especially on my show with my audience. But I will say he's the founder of American Truth Project, where the dedication and mission statement literally is to bring you the truth every day and not sugarcoated. He's also a dear friend of mine, and I had the honor to work with him at American Truth Project from day one, pretty much as national director. How's it how's it going, Barry?
As I said when we were chatting before the show, Annie, today is going to be one bizarre conversation trying to figure out what it is that's not being said, what it is we haven't been told, and why is the deal in Iran 100% different than the deal in Tel Aviv versus the deal in DC. So it's going to be a little bit of psychic. I think it means this, and my feeling is it means that, but nobody seems to really know.
Well, it didn't get here yet when we originally chatted yesterday, and if you remember, I said there won't be speculations on my end. I kind of sort of know exactly what's happening, not because I'm a prophet, though I was going to claim that today. I know because first of all, again, a lot of people say that, you shouldn't trust Iran's regime. We know the Iran regime, but I grew up under that regime. Like they can't breathe, and I'll tell you what they mean. Uh, and I also know how the American government operation works, specifically the Trump administration. And also, on the other hand, I don't think I necessarily even care to know what I'm not being told, Barry. I'll tell you
Hmm.
why. I don't care what I'm not being told. I care about what I am being told, which is flat out lies. That is more of my angle today. I am, as Brandon said on his radio today, I am tired of my intelligence being insulted. You want to lie, that's fine, but don't even think I'm buying it anymore. So, with that on the table, let's go back in time for a minute to just set the stage for our audience who have not necessarily followed everybody's X account and, everyone's statement. Thomas, can we put up the original statement, that the very first one that ever came out by the Pakistani government, or more specifically, the first announcement was made by the Prime Minister of Pakistan, Mr. Sharif, that says, with the greatest humility, I am pleased to announce that the Islamic Republic of Iran and the United States of America, along with their allies, have agreed to an immediate ceasefire everywhere, including Lebanon and elsewhere, effective immediately. The rest I don't really care for. But by the way, the Friday thing I mentioned on my post came from the original post here, that there's a meeting. This was the original announcement. Before US say anything, before Iran says anything, before Bibi said anything. So the root of the problem, I think, Barry, starts right here. This is pretty clear. He says US and their allies, Iran and their allies, is specifically naming Lebanon part of the ceasefire. So where did it go wrong, Barry, from there?
Well, you're right. We have to add Pakistan into the list of confusing participants. Since that announcement came in just before Donald Trump was prepared to bomb Iran back into the Stone Age, bad choice of terms by him, um, and end the civilization, worst choice of words by an American president, I think, ever. Ever since then, Annie, the explanation factories have been running around the clock from Pakistan, from Iran, from Hezbollah, from Israel, and from the United States. And there has not been, as best as I can tell, a single, and I mean this literally, a single statement made that has been agreed to by all the parties. In other words, it seems to me that everything that we think happened yesterday has been reinterpreted over and over and over again. And while I'm sitting here, I'm looking at my phone and the interpretations are continuing. So we can go through the list, But this is the most confusing, non-interpretable ceasefire slash end of violence agreement I've ever read. Meaning, from the first statement that came out of Pakistan, and then the United States, and then Israel, and then Hezbollah, not to mention the Houthis, not to mention Hamas, and the Islamists in Iraq, everybody's got a different story. And I mean, everybody's got a different story. There doesn't seem to be the same page agreement. As best as I can tell, there's 5 different interpretations. And I'm literally reading right now intelligence out of Israel on my phone, reinterpreting for about the 45th time since yesterday.
Agreed.
I don't know what the deal is. I really don't.
I agree, but here's where I said I want to know why am I not being told. This is the original statement by a man, which is the Prime Minister of Pakistan, that has been referred to by both President Trump. By the way, I'm going to leave Bibi and Israel out of this for a minute, and I will say why. The statement is Iran and US with their allies. Israel isn't even mentioned by name, though Lebanon is. So I'm going to start with it. President Trump put out a statement mentioning that this was coordinated and achieved by Pakistan Prime Minister. And then Iran, the National Council of Islamic Republic of Iran also stated that with gratitude, thankful to the Prime Minister of Pakistan. So when both parties are approving of Pakistan's statement, why is United States of America, one, not picking up the phone, calling Sharif, the Prime Minister, and say, okay, where did this go wrong? Two, coming instead of keep saying, Lebanon was not part of it, Lebanon was not part of it, Lebanon was not part of it, why don't they come out and say, there has been a miscommunication, there has been a change of plan, whatever. This is where I say I'm tired of being lied to. They're not addressing the problem. They're just dabbling down on a new narrative. For me, you want credibility, you show up, instead of sending Caroline Levitt to school me on be careful what you say on your show or your social media, why don't you come out or send her to say, listen, we understand where the confusion is. Don't call me a fake news. Don't. I'm not fake news. I'm following the paper trail. That's where their credibility is extremely under question today. And by they, I want to be specific. Trump administration, including Trump himself, Pete Hegseth, and Caroline Levitt. All 3 of them can properly be questioned. Am I asking for too much here, Barry?
No, and you may not even know this. The Vice President, J.D. Vance, has just about 10 minutes ago, I'm reading it right now, has come out with a statement on exactly this exact point, Annie, saying there seems to have been a miscommunication with Pakistan, meaning Lebanon was not included in the agreement worked out between the United States, Pakistan, and Iran vis-a-vis Israel to stop dismantling Hezbollah facilities south of the Litani River and actually now north of the Litani River. So J.D. Vance is now clarifying the American position, and we already have a response from Iran, which says if Lebanon is not included, there is no ceasefire, and they will consider that Israel attacking Hezbollah is the same as Israel attacking Iran. So as of like right now, as of the last couple of minutes, if you are to take the Iranian declaration seriously in response to J.D. Vance clarifying the exact question you just raised, there is no deal. Because as we speak, right now, Israel is bombing the crap out of Hezbollah in South Lebanon. And the justification for it is there was a peace treaty a year ago that was between Hezbollah, Lebanon, and Israel, whereby and witnessed by everybody, by the way, it's not a secret, that Lebanon was in charge of dismantling and removing all Hezbollah operators, their missile facilities, their arms stockpiles, their tunneling, their war machine out of southern Lebanon. And southern Lebanon was to be just for the Lebanese, not for the Shia militias that are under the control of the IRGC. Lebanon has breached that deal nonstop. And Israel kept threatening, you can't shoot missiles at us. You can't shoot missiles at us. You can't shoot missiles at us. If you do and you don't stop it, we're going in. And they're in Lebanon right now, on the ground and in the air. And they are cleaning out Hezbollah. And according to Iran, as of right now, they have just said, I'm looking at it, that is a breach of the agreement made yesterday. And as far as they're concerned, there's no peace treaty because Israel is bombing Hezbollah.
Yes, and actually the
so
original.
Is the deal off now? I don't know.
Well, the deal was off a long ago. That's why I coded it on 13 hours max. The reason, you know, Hezbollah is still attacking Israel. Israel goes full out on Hezbollah. First Araghchi comes out saying ceasefire broken because Lebanon was part of it. Then Ghalibaf, which is the Speaker of Parliament in Iran, he comes out, not just this one, but he brings up 3 points, saying 3 clause out of our 10-point is already not being honored. Therefore, there is no ceasefire. These are all within last 5 to 6 hours. So again, this ceasefire, we'll get more into it just for entertainment purposes, I guess. But it's a joke. It's that it's entertainment. I mean, when you have a Hollywood president, you got to expect Hollywood as entertainment. But we do need to take our ad break. What we're going to do is we're going to take our ad break. And then we come back. We're going to play that 1-minute video from my yesterday show that I mentioned because it's ready. And then we come back. I probably boast a little bit. And then we bring back Barry and continue talking. So don't go anywhere. Lots of boasting coming up. Right back.
Life is too short to spend a single moment spinning in laundry worries. Take a load off your mind with the all-new Norwex Powerzyme laundry detergent. This natural detergent harnesses the power of enzymes and plant-based surfactants to leave fabrics fresh and clean without fillers, brighteners, synthetic fragrances, bleach, or harsh chemicals. So go ahead, have your cake and eat it too. More than ever, stressful stains have met their match. Powerzyme's fast-acting enzymes break down organic substances while natural surfactants loosen locked-in dirt and oil, removing residue, stains, and odors with ease. With 91% bio-based ingredients, this dermatologist-tested hypoallergenic formula is suitable for sensitive skin types and delivers a safe and effective clean that won't harm you or the planet's waterways. Less time spent worrying about laundry means you can focus on what truly matters. Norwex Powerzyme Laundry Detergent. Discover the power of nature and load up on confidence.
I feel like today we got to go take our last ad break, but I feel like, I don't know if it was me or you or both, but it was like it was needed for me to just show up and say, Trump, watch what you're saying, but we know nothing's going to happen at 8 p.m. And then we just chat. It's so good when I get to just chat. Let's do this. Let's go take our last ad break. When we come back, we're going to finish up chatting because I mean, I can sit here and give you a lot of analysis, but I don't want to. You know why I don't want to? Because it's Trump. It is the gambler. He will gamble with anything and everybody. So why would I give analysis when I have a good feeling at Brian House Live? We're going to sit there and say, well, my first analysis was right on spot on. We're good to go. Let's go take our last ad break. Shall I say more? Literally, I went on Brian House Live and I said, you see, nothing happened. We got the deal. We're going to just call for it. I'm tired of all the winning. I am so glad, though, we didn't spend time on more analysis and I got to chat with all of you guys because that was way more fun. And I am glad that some of you are saying me constantly laughing on Brown House Live was fun and made you laugh and you enjoyed it because some people were not happy. So you see, I don't know. I did not grow up in a family that somebody was a gambler, but I don't know why. But I even my recently released Substack where I talked about the dealer's choice culture. I used the same analogy, the gambling culture. I don't know why. Maybe I don't. Anyways, point is, a gambler is a gambler. To try to figure out why he's doing what he's doing is one of those things of, well, waste of time. Just watch for when he's gonna try to recover from losses. That's what a gambler does. And I think this is exactly what we're watching. But let's see what Barry thinks. By the way, Barry, I genuinely call him a gambler. And I mean that literally. But I at the same time feel like he is reaching his budget because his gambling is starting to affect his ego. Am I kind of good there? What do you think?
I I think the way to answer your question is try to be as factual as possible. And if I may, I can read the list of the 10 points that Iran thinks are the deal. And here's what's very confusing. Trump has said that these 10 items on the Iranian demand list in regards to the ceasefire are all good starting points, and most have been agreed
I
to.
think we
Now,
have
when
that
you
a screenshot of him mentioning that on Truth Social, his own words, that the 10 point that are a good basis of negotiation.
that's insanity. That's complete fictitious insanity. And I'm a Trump supporter, and I'm telling you that is one of the dumbest things the president has said, because we can zoom through this list, and every single item on the list except for one is a non-starter, and yet Trump says this is where we have agreements. Listen to the list. Number one,
Hold
a
on,
binding
hold on.
guarantee. Sure.
Before you read, Thomas, can we put up the 10 points so our audience can follow as we go through it? Go ahead, Barry. No, the
Okay,
10 point screenshot, that's tight. There we go. Perfect. Go ahead, Barry.
there you go. So, and these have been rewritten half a dozen times, but what I'm going to tell you is more or less the same. Number one, a binding guarantee the U.S. and its allies will not strike Iran again. That can't work. What if Iran does something like doesn't allow the export of the enhanced uranium enough for 11 bombs? Of course, Iran will get struck again. A permanent end to hostilities right now. Number three, an end to Israeli strikes on Hezbollah in Lebanon. That's been breached from the first minute. A full lifting of U.S. sanctions. That will never happen unless and until Iran does certain things. Protection for Iran's regional proxies and allied militias. That means Hezbollah. That means Hamas. That means the Houthis. That means the Islamists in Iraq. That means the Islamists around the world. Number six, reopening of the Strait of Hormuz under Iranian conditions. That's been a free strait forever. This is a change that is unprecedented that the world won't accept. Number seven, a transit fee, reportedly at $2 million per ship going through. There's never been a transit fee. And here's the killer. Number eight, compensation or reconstruction support. They want $1 trillion because the United States blew up Iran. Number nine, recognition of Iran's regional security interests. I don't know what that means. And a broader framework for long-term negotiations without surrender. So those 10 points don't mean anything because the United States isn't going to agree to it. God forbid, nor would Israel agree to it. And then if we go through Trump's 15 points, Iran's already said no to those. So at this point, like they say in law school, a contract is simply, and this is old English law, a meeting of the minds. So it can be verbal or it can be codified in writing. And that's what they teach you in first year of contracts law. There's no meeting of the minds here. There's one contract being proposed by Iran. that Trump says is we've agreed to most of it, and Iran says Trump's agreed to almost all of it. And then there's Trump's 15 demands where Trump says Iran's agreed to it, and Iran says, no, we haven't. There's no meeting of the minds. Meanwhile, after the ceasefire was in effect, Fox News was on the air documenting, I watched it, missiles being fired from Iran into North, Central, and South Israel, into the UAE, into Saudi Arabia, into Kuwait, and into Qatar after the ceasefire. So I don't know, maybe I'm not as smart as some of these people, but ceasefire to me means you stop firing. They're firing right now. I was on the phone with Israel after the 2 o'clock, 8 o'clock deadlines, depending where you are in the country. And I could hear the explosions through the phone. And I said to the lady I was talking to, are those interceptions above you? And she said, yes, I'm just outside of Jerusalem. That's the 9th one I've heard since we've been on the phone. And I said to her a little bit sarcastically, hey, some ceasefire, huh? And she goes, well, at least I didn't have to hang up and run to the shelter because I am hearing sirens, but they're not meaning in my neighborhood. So I don't know, Annie, what kind of ceasefire is it when the firing hasn't ceased?
Well, let me answer your question with a question, not just for you, for even our audience, for everybody. And again, I want to be very clear. I don't criticize the name. I criticize actions, especially when it comes to my area of expertise. Because I see some people are, again, saying that, why am I constantly picking on Trump? I don't know. Maybe he should behave. Then I will stop picking on him. I mean, you just don't get to do this and not expect those of us who know better not to pick on you. That being said, when was the last time a ceasefire between an Islamic militia group and a Western country or Israel existed? Not on paper, in reality of practice. Never. That's
You mean
why I
not
say
not
this.
not a hudna, a real treaty?
Exactly. That's the thing.
Never,
This is where
never.
I say there is no bigger picture. There's no 5D chess. By the way, someone commented bad on YouTube, said Iranians or Islamic mullahs are playing chess and US is playing what? Backgammon, checker, or something else. Let's reverse that, because I always say I'm not a chess player. I know how to build chess pieces and sets, but I don't play chess. Not because I don't know how to play it, because it's actually very boring. I play backgammon. Don't underestimate someone who plays backgammon. The number of possible moves that completely depends on you versus depending on your opponent are about 12 times higher at possibilities than you ever have in chess. So chess is pretty boring for me. But since we all talk about chess when it comes to Trump, there is no 5D, 4D, 20D chess to play with these people. There is no setting trap. Their entire operation is based on deception. Again, let me plug my book for a minute here. The Architecture of Jihad. Every single face of jihad, all 10 of them, comes back down to one thing. When needed, lie. When needed, lie. You need to lie. Do this to lie. These are the circumstances you can lie. The entire foundation is based on lies. So you can't expect some sort of bigger picture, except when it comes to Israel. Barry, I'll say this. Israel is the only country, better yet, Israel is the only government under leadership of Bibi that can absolutely win this game because, one, they don't fall for the lies. They know the lies. Number two, they have paid the price and they are fed up and they're done. That's the problem with America. A lot of Americans who've been celebrating this win since last night, They actually think this is a good thing. They never learned anything from Hamas. Let me go really off topic that is connected directly to the topic. What happened to disarming Hamas with that 10, 20 point deal? Wasn't that number two on the deal? Number one was ceasefire, number two was disarming Hamas. We're still stuck on number two of the 20 point of what happened October of last year.
No, I'm sorry to disagree with you. We're stuck on number one. Hamas shot up an Israeli security patrol yesterday in Gaza. It just wasn't in the Western press. Hamas is rearming, retraining, recruiting new followers in the Gaza Strip. They're just out of the news right now. That 20-point peace plan that Trump created with the Board of Peace, chaired by Donald Trump, is a load of, well, I'll be kind, manure. It never got beyond stage one. We're still stuck on stage one. And nobody that has joined the Board of Peace is willing to provide troops to go into Gaza to disarm Hamas. And that's step two. Step one is stop shooting. And Hamas was shooting at Israelis yesterday. It's just not in the press. So when I look at the fact that now there's peace and, these Democrats are also happy, and now we don't have to impeach Trump and we don't have to have the 25th Amendment today because he didn't destroy this ancient civilization and everything's grand. They still have enriched uranium, enough for 11 bombs. Nobody knows where it is, like you and I talked about last week. It might have been trucked out right before the last bombing happened, because you and I have both seen the convoys carrying containers that are built to transport enriched uranium. So Trump said yesterday that the uranium dust is buried under the bombing residue from the B-1s and B-2 bombs. Maybe, maybe not. It's on Trump's 15-point plan that we're going to go in and get it. We don't know where it is. I'm sorry to say. We don't know how difficult it would be to get it. And what if we go in there and we dig and dig and dig and dig and dig, and it's not there? And the enhanced uranium that the Iranian negotiators told Witkoff to his face and Jared Kushner, hey, we've been lying to you all this time. We have enough enriched uranium that in 2 weeks we can build 11 nuclear bombs. They bragged about it. They've never given that uranium up. And that's the justification for this entire war, that they were going to make nuclear bombs. And by the way, they don't want to give that up. They don't want to give up ballistic missiles. They don't want to give up short-range missiles. They don't want to give up supporting their proxy armies. I don't know where we are today. This is the goofiest thing. And in fact, by the way, I read an article a few hours ago before we came on air that said, well, Donald Trump's real reason for making this deal, you're going to love this, is to allow resupply of all of the troops that are in theater, to bring in more missiles, to bring in more planes, to resupply arms, to give everybody a chance to rest up a little bit. And then we sort of know, this is what it was implied in the article, that they're never going to agree to my 15 points. This is coming from Trump, and we're ready to go back in. And this is an exact opposition to what Trump said yesterday, which is now there's going to be freedom for the Iranian people, and there's been a regime change. That's a lie. And we have new people to work with that are much more understanding. That's a lie. And there will be a new Iran, and the people of Iran will be free. That's just BS. Not a single statement that I just told you has any resemblance to the truth. It's just PR. And why he's saying it, maybe, if you can believe this article, I'm not sure that I do. It's to allow resupply. I don't think, from people I've talked to in the American military and the Israeli military, that the United States was short of arms, planes, people, or ships.
Right, I
And
have
I don't
heard
know
that.
why. And I don't know why we're kissing Pakistan's butt either, quite frankly.
Oh, don't get me started on that. Like, don't, like, ooh, we can do another 5 shows on the fact that now Pakistan. We listen to Pakistan, like Pakistan requests a ceasefire and we say sure. After the fact that Qatar was the middleman, they failed. Oman becomes the middleman, they fail. Then Pakistan suddenly becomes a middleman, and we say sure. I mean, if I forgot to bring my actual made tinfoil hat here, but hey, would it be possible that Pakistan is forcing us to this ceasefires, considering they're sitting on 170 plus nuclear weapons? Just a thought. You know, we love to think that this all happened because Iran's scared of us. What else is there need to be seen for us to understand these mullahs and IRGC are not scared of anyone? What part of they look forward to dying and becoming a shaheed, martyr in way of Allah, do you not understand? What Israel killed Khamenei, they didn't flinch. And then suddenly now they're scared of Trump. Stop the illusion and the delusion, because it's exhausting. And it's kind of also embarrassing. Or is this going to last? No. Are we going to go back in? Depends. Maybe this is where finally Trump, here's another idea. Trump realized I should have listened to people like Aina Zeni Cyrus. I should have stayed back up for Israel. Now let me do this. I'm going to pretend there's a ceasefire, even if it lasts 10 hours. Then I'll let Israel go in, finish the job while we stand as backup. How about that for an idea? That would be fantastic. I will still say we should have done it 6 weeks ago, but I'll take it as today, because he couldn't just say, okay, we're stepping back, you go forward. He needed that ceasefire to do that. Yes, as I said on my show yesterday, I can think of 20 different ways to look at this. But what happens tomorrow matters not to me today. What happened today matters to me. The discrepancy inside our own administration. Trump tells New York Post that for security concerns, J.D. Vance is not going to be part of the negotiations on Saturday. Karen Levitt comes on camera and said, J.D. Vance is going to be in the room. And then J.D. Vance comes out and does the cleanup for the miscommunication. Those three statements are enough for me to sit here and say, uh-oh. Is there a mistrust going on inside administration enough that they're not even talking to each other? Is the leak information that President Trump talked about after we rescued our pilots, when he said this happened because somebody leaked information about this operation, is that where it all started? I can go on forever, but I won't, because I think everybody's getting a headache from my voice. Let's take our next ad break, get boosted with that ad music. We come back, we continue the discussion. And if you have any questions for Barry or me, put them in all caps so I can catch them easier. And I promise on next segment, I'm going to catch your questions and read them to Barry, unless they're mine. And we're going to keep going with the show until we wrap up. Be right back, guys. Well, hello, everybody. It's Annie Cyrus. Welcome to my artist studio where all the magic happens. This is the station for painting, and that is the station for all the resin art I do. If you want to check out my art, all you gotta do is go to lutfstudio.com. But I'm sure, for at least I hope, I'll see you at lutfstudio.com. Welcome back to Live Up to Freedom. Thank you so much for staying with us until now. I greatly appreciate you being here. I am scanning through your comments, and I have to read this one because I kind of like it. Though I'm not qualified, I wasn't born in America, but Lori said that if she was queen, she would nominate me as the President of the United States of America. I would want that job, by the way. If I could, I would. But I wasn't born in America. So I will not be the president. Wow, can you imagine me being the president? That would have been terrible for so many people. Now, I would probably be impeached in a week or assassinated in a week and a half. Talk about assassination. Let me drop a quick note here. I don't want to take too much of our shared time with Barry, but I was told it's a good idea to make this public. I told you guys, you know what's happening. Now you hear ceasefire. Part of it is personal. Of course, I'm going to come out. I'm like, are you crazy? But this reformed regime. No, I'm sorry. There's a new regime. My bad, my bad. A new, smarter, less radicalized regime has definitely upped their game on silencing us. I don't mean Americans. I mean Iranians outside of Iran who are covering, putting out truth, translating, trying to draw lines for others to understand what's happening. They have upped their upped their game. At this point, we have gone from me having a tail every time I leave my house to where now officially and openly they are staking my house out and they make sure I know it. That's fun. I know I'll be fine. I'll appreciate any prayers, but I'll be fine. I'm not moving. I'm done moving. And best of luck to them if they actually try to go from that parked car into my front lawn. That will not end well for them. But I just want to say these are the reasons sometimes someone like me says, just even as a trap, even as a game of chess, whatever, for oil, I don't know, fees from a Strait of Hormuz. No amount of money shall convince a U.S. president to jeopardize its citizens. I am an American citizen. When they get me, I won't even say if, when they get me, an American citizen has been captured, possibly killed, maybe taken back for a trial, whatever the deal. So these are the times I say, I laugh, because if I don't laugh, well, I just laugh. That's better. Also, quick reminder, I'm very grateful for those of you who have picked up a copy of the book, either signed copy or Kindle or paperback on Amazon. I was so very humbled this morning when I received notification that we held #1 bestseller on Amazon for 3 weeks straight, and now on paperback and Kindle, surely the Architecture of Jihad is on #3 on both categories of religious history and the history of Islam. And this wouldn't happen, of course, if it wasn't Lord's will and also if it wasn't for your support. So I greatly appreciate that. Your reviews on Amazon are definitely boosting us up. And if you haven't picked up a copy yet, I encourage you to pick up a copy. If you want a signed copy, go to my website, liveuptofreedom.com. Otherwise, you can get your copy possibly faster shipped to you with no shipping cost from Amazon on both Kindle and paperback. Okay, let's bring Barry back on. I want to know your thoughts, Barry. What do you think of what I just proposed before we go to ad? Could it be that we faked a ceasefire so we could maybe back off and let Israel do this right as we stand as backup?
Ooh. Well, I have 3 answers for you. While you were just chatting, I was reading a release that has just come out from Iran's parliamentary speaker just now. And he says there will be no bilateral ceasefire negotiations with the United States, that the only thing Iran is willing to discuss is their 10-point plan published by state media, despite the fact that President Donald J. Trump has rejected the 10 points. So, #1, as of right now, while we were on the air, Iran has said, no, we're not going to talk about the 15 points from Trump. We will only talk about our 10 points, of which I read them earlier in the show, and they're all non-starters. So that's #1. #2, I'm very curious as to what you think is going on vis-a-vis a ceasefire, which Trump says is still in place. And during that ceasefire, Iran has fired missiles at every single place they shot missiles at previously. All of them, including setting a large refinery on fire in Saudi Arabia. All of these things happened after the ceasefire. So I guess my question is, what comes now? Because Israel by themselves, without the U.S. tanker planes, cannot easily reach Iran for bombing run after bombing run after bombing run. Those huge flying gas tanks that the United States has were started to be pulled out of Israel last night, the
Hmm.
tanker planes. And those are the aerial refuelers that the F-15, F-16s, and F-35 jets that Israel flies have been gassing up with. They take off full, they do a run, they go back up in the air, they fill back up, they do another run, and then they go back to Israel and reload. Without those tankers, Israel's ability to manage strikes in Iran diminishes greatly. Now, having said that, Iran just put out another press release that an Israeli drone was just shot down 10 minutes ago and debris killed some people on the ground. I don't know if it's true. That's just what Iran says. So we still have a hot war right now that involves 9 countries. On one side is Iran and the Houthis and Hezbollah. On the other side is Israel and the United States. I think, as best as I can tell, the only player that has stopped fighting out of that entire list is us. And your question, should the United States step aside so Israel can finish the job? Israel can't finish the job against Iran alone. They can against
Yeah, but you
Hezbollah.
missed the
And
part where I said we're going to be the backup, meaning we provide the equipment and the planes, and we don't provide the manpower, we provide the equipment. That's where I said we stay the backup and Israel runs the show. They can finish it that way.
I think you're right. I do. And maybe that gives some air cover to Trump saying, hey, we're the only ones agreeing to the ceasefire. Look, we're not shooting anybody. But at this point, I don't see the political capital it's creating for Trump. Besides the fact that gas prices came down a ton today on the futures market, I'm talking about, prices at the pump. It's all speculation since the United States doesn't get petroleum through the Straits of Hormuz. It's very, 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 very minor. We're a net exporter. We don't care. We are fighting for the Straits of Hormuz to protect the pocketbooks of our Arab friends and our European friends. And the European friends ought to be put in quotes because with friends like those guys, who needs enemies? As far as I'm concerned, NATO has shown what NATO's worth is, which is very negligible. So we're not fighting for the oil. We're not for us. We were protecting ourselves against a nuclear holocaust that Iran was within minutes, in terms of the calendar of being able to export nuclear weapons, either through ballistic missiles or suitcase bombs or dirty bombs. They were that close and they
Wait,
bragged about it.
are you saying that as the administration's talking point, or do you actually believe that
Which part?
the nuclear holocaust and Iran was minutes away based on calendar to make it?
Yeah, I do. Israeli intelligence confirmed what Witkoff and Jared Kushner said, which was there was enough enhanced uranium at 60% to
Hmm.
make probably 11 bombs. And
Right.
to go from 60 to 90% takes about 2 weeks. They were right
Exactly.
there.
So now I'm not disagreeing with you. Again, I've been, well, based on my information, Iran already has one. One bomb is ready. They're just trying to expand it. But
I've heard that too. I've heard that too.
the reason I'm confirming this is because I want to go back to when I said I'm tired of being lied to. Didn't we hear last year after the 12 days war when we got the ceasefire between Israel and Iran, didn't we hear from the same administration, the same people, that we just pushed their nuclear program back by decades and destroyed their facilities?
I think that was a made up story.
But my question is, how do I know today's not a made up story? I mean, they lied to us flat out, strong, once less than a year ago. And this is exactly why I started the show by saying, I don't care about what I'm not being told. I care about what I'm being told flat out as lies with no proof and no attempt by this government to tell me that, listen, I get it. You don't trust me because of this, 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 but let me try to fix that by saying this, this, this.
Yeah,
So I
I
don't,
you know, let me answer you this way, and this is not a non-answer. This is a very direct answer. If you go back in history and you think about Colin Powell at the United Nations talking about the weapons of mass destruction possessed by Saddam Hussein to justify the American invasion of Iraq, it was 100% a lie. And
yes.
we had no proof, but George Bush wanted to take out Saddam Hussein. And so the justification before the United Nations was made up. We didn't have the evidence, we, the United States intelligence, and the world didn't believe us. But Colin Powell did one hell of a sales job on the United Nations, pushed it through the American Congress, and a lot of American men and women died, and trillions of dollars were wasted on Iraq, which is now uh, a zoo run by tribes of various um, affiliations. At this point, my personal belief is that uranium is in Iran somewhere. I
It's in
don't
Kolang
think we
Mountain.
know what's up.
It is inside the heart of Kolang Mountain.
Well, we don't have it. We don't have access to it. And
Nope.
whether it was dispersed in other places or not, I don't know. I think Israel's got a better idea than we do. And until and unless that is extracted from Iran and locked up, and I don't mean sent to Russia, that was Russia's idea because it could go back on one
Oh,
plane.
Erdogan would like to have it in Turkey now. Erdogan has proposed collaboration. We'll take it. We lock it in Turkey. Let us have it.
Oh yeah,
That's a
we
great
trust
idea.
him just as much because he wants to have his caliphate, and he wants to have the return of the empire that he's talked about, the same as Putin wants the return of the Russian Empire. So no, I don't trust Turkey, and I don't trust Russia, and I don't trust Iran, and the nuclear enhanced uranium is still there somewhere, and there's a very good possibility, as you've just suggested, it was moved. So we blew up a bunch of mountains, and maybe all the centrifuges, or most of them, are mashed up or unreachable under thousands and thousands of tons of rock. But the fact is, you don't need to enhance much more, and you've already got bombs. Or
Mhm.
it could be brought in from Pakistan, which is why I'm so nervous about Pakistan being the negotiator. They are a rogue nuclear power that breached all kinds of international law and got the bomb, courtesy of help from people like North Korea, and then bragged about it. That's why everybody doesn't push on Pakistan, because they're lunatics with a whole lot of nuclear weapons. The same as Kim Jong Un has the same reputation. He's nuts, and he has a whole lot of nuclear weapons, courtesy of Bill Clinton.
Which brings us back to the point that when we hear from President Trump, Hicks, at any of them, that we have achieved our military objectives, that's a lie
Of course
because we
it
have
is.
not.
Of
So it's
course.
a lie after lie after lie, and somehow, somewhere, we are supposed to, I don't know, benefit of the doubt, believe some sort of, you know, magical 3D chess moves are happening. I personally refuse to do so, regardless. But my concern, as we come to the last minutes of our show, my concern is, again, I know the interesting part is what's next. It's clear what's next. This didn't start yesterday. This didn't start 6 weeks ago either. Again, this started during 12 days war. That ceasefire is when I said, watch as this is going to become a new pattern for U.S. Israel, Iran ceasefire, Israel, Iran ceasefire. We're repeating the Gaza scenario over and over and over. But then again, it was like, oh, you got to trust Trump. No, thank you.
Not
But
after yesterday, I don't.
I stopped trusting Trump after the attempted assassination of Trump in Pennsylvania. That was it. After that, I was done. I didn't vote for him. I'm like, okay, I'm just watching you now because this is getting very interesting. But point is, I want you to leave our audience with a clear message. It's too much noise, too much chaos. What is my audience is to look at, or take to heart as we get through the next couple of weeks.
I have the perfect answer, I believe. In
I know.
1945, in the spring, uh, the Americans were at the outskirts of Berlin, and Hitler had just killed himself in April, and the German military that took over, ostensibly, that were running what was left of the country, wanted a peace deal with the Allies. They wanted to surrender to the Americans. They wanted a negotiated settlement. And what they were told was unconditional surrender without terms, or we're killing everybody. And we the Americans mostly, did a lot of that. The idea that we would have made a deal with the Nazis, is what we have just done last year with Iran, and what we seem to be doing again today, starting yesterday, with Iran again. Since the peace deal was announced, Iran has never stopped firing missiles, and has announced, as I said half an hour ago on this show, according to the Speaker of the Parliament, if Israel keeps attacking in Lebanon against Hezbollah, which is the Iranian proxy, that will be the end of the ceasefire. Israel just launched massive air raids, I'm reading it, against Hezbollah positions south of the Litani River in Lebanon, because they're being fired on with missiles from Hezbollah into northern Israel as we speak. There is no peace deal, period, except in the mind of Donald Trump. There is no peace deal. The question is, will we have the chutzpah to finish the job? Because if it's not finished, I feel so horrible for Israel. I feel so horrible for the Iranian people that will be slaughtered in the streets again, and there's nothing they can do about it, because we did not finish the job. And if we don't finish the job, everything we've done is for naught. Everything we've done is for nothing. All the treasure and the lives that have been lost and expended will have been for nothing. Because what will happen is exactly what happened after last year's deal. They start rebuilding missiles. They start rebuilding missile launchers. They start suppressing people in the streets. They kill 10, 20, 30, 40, 50,000. And the world does nothing about it. So either we finish
Israel.
either we finish it, or we're back at this point next year again. That's my takeaway.
Agreed. Well, as always, I can talk to you for hours, but we're at the end of this show. Let's plan on having you back next Wednesday, Barry.
Be happy to.
Unless something very major happens. Otherwise, we will see you back here next Wednesday, Barry. And guys, I encourage you, and this is very biased, yes, go support Barry. Findbarry.com. Subscribe to their newsletter. It's for free. Share all of their contents, and then click that donate button. American Truth Project is a 501c3. You can make a tax-deductible donation. Hey, we're about to get our tax returns, small or big. Hey, you all said Trump's going to make us rich on tax returns. Dedicate a portion of that to Barry's work, because he's doing this, and he's doing it for the right reasons. Otherwise, trust me, I would not be working with him, nor would I be such a close friends with him. Barry, you stay safe. Keep me posted. See you next Wednesday.
All the best. Thanks for having me.
Guys, I got to wrap up here. I got to head out. I got to get going. To my subscribers on Substack, I will be sending an email here shortly with a link to a Zoom call. We're doing our first book reading of The Architecture of Jihad. I will be joining Aisha on a private Zoom to do that, and I'm going to invite all of my Substackers. If you're not a Substacker yet, you can sign up within the next hour, because that's when I'm going to send the email. Those of you who can make it, I'll see you there. And otherwise, I'll see you all back here Monday. Until then, be safe and don't listen too much to Fox News. I'll see you then. Bye, guys.